Number 41. A theater review considers the audience response, collectively or individually. The review is aware of the audience and how they respond to the piece. The reviewer will note to what degree the audience engages, how they engage, and what this means to the art. This may be in sync or not with the response of the reviewer. This is a really, Sometimes you think, am I the only one who's enjoying this, or am I the only one who's not enjoying this? And I have people who say, Louis, as soon as you say it was a real crowd pleaser, that means you didn't like it. And I suppose that's true. But you can't ignore the fact that the audience around you is reacting to this piece. And it's not engaging you, but it's engaging them. That doesn't make it a great piece of art, but it also is working for certain people. And one of the reasons that I wish I weren't going opening night is that is not a real audience. We see them with opening night audiences, and that is not a real audience. Those aren't people who've paid to see the play. They are friends of the theater, friends of the actors, so it's a different response. And I have occasionally had to see a play on a different performance, on a different night, and boy, is it different.
And sponsors coming as well.
Yes.
You know, giving swaths of seats away to people who they hear their names in the pre-show appreciation. They're all excited, and then they're responding differently to things than what we would. And sometimes it's delightful to be the only person that I have been the only person in the room that stood. And that's an interesting position to be in, where I just appreciated so much the artistry and the work that was being done. And it wasn't a good fit for that particular theater company, and the rest of the audience was going, this isn't what we usually see. And I was going, yes, it's not what we usually see, but what was there was brilliant.
Yeah. And I think it is important for us to be aware, as you say, of how the audience is responding. I think that's important because the play was not created for us. The play is not created for critics. The play is created for the audiences that go to that theater. And a good artistic director knows what that audience wants. And so, especially like with dinner theater, they know their audiences want a specific kind of entertainment. And you and I may not like that kind of, musical concert thing, but the audiences do. And so what you do is you see how well did they do it this time. They've got a different director. So how well did they do their dinner theater show? The same thing goes a lot with Theatre Calgary. You know which shows they have chosen for their audiences. You know which, and then you see the ones that they're throwing in there and hoping that the audiences respond to. And those are usually the ones we ended up liking more. But you have to be aware of how that audience is reacting. So yes, if I throw that in, it was a real crowd pleaser. It means that I wasn't with the crowd at that moment.
I remember one year I was given very graciously a pass to see the Calgary Theatre's festival that they used to have. You remember the big children's festival?
Yes.
Where it had international people coming in, and it was being curated beautifully. And the artistic director at that time was Kate Newby, and it was amazing. And I really had my eyes open to how good children's theater could be coming from Europe and the different sensibilities. And one of the things that I always wished I could do was stand at the edge of the theater and take a video of the kids so that the performers could see when they were losing them and when they weren't losing them. And kids are so honest because as adults we're trained, we sit, we're still the whole time. And as you know from talking about, your Papa Louie experiences, when the kids are shifting focus and when they're bored,
when they want to go home,
they will want to go home. And and even in their body language, when they're leaning forward, when they're riveted, when you can hear a pin drop, it's just so telling.
What was the one Storybook did? Kanuki's Island?
Yeah.
The kids were absolutely mesmerized. They were with it. Now I know that both Aiden and Declan had read the novel, so they knew where it was going. But they loved it, and they loved the puppets that did the dog and the orangutans. They loved all of that. The director, the designers had taken that into consideration, and they took the children on a journey. I remember them again with the Elf, the musical. I mean, so beautifully done. They were enchanted by it. And as you're saying, they're right. Children are honest. They'll let you know when they're not enjoying it, when they're not engaged. They're not like us who pretend we're engaged and we smile and we laugh, we chuckle, and yeah.
Well, we don't pretend. We're just polite.
And that's that thing where when you laugh, when your laughter is real, when you're engaged, when you're real, when you hear people laughing and not smiling and chuckling and that, then you know they're being polite. Yes.
Yes. There's nothing better, I think, than the roar of a crowd when there's something funny happens, where you get that sort of wah kind of feeling. There's nothing like that. It's just, it's an elixir that you just can't get anywhere else.
When the actors have to stop because and hold character because the audience is laughing so much, so hard. Yeah.
Yes.
That happens a lot with the British sex farce, and as you say, the pantomime, where people just lose themselves completely. It's silly, silly stuff, and people laugh and laugh and laugh. We that's what we want. That's why we go to theater, is to laugh, to cry, to scream, to gasp. That's why we go. Yeah.
And conversely, the moment of suspense, that real moment of suspense, which is so hard to get in theater because everything is safe. We know nobody's really going to die, and it's unlike movies, right? Where there's
it's like with Vertigo's the Brothers Paranormal, when you discover something in Act One, and you go, oh no! The whole audience did that. It was a universal thing. They had been conned. They didn't know that character was a ghost, and boy, that is something. And that's why we go to theater, for those surprises. For those, when we go to theater to see something like for the 49 Steps, where two actors are playing simultaneous characters, where half their costume is a woman and half their we're laughing, we're joking, we're looking at those actors and what they're doing. That's the magic of theater, is to make us take that journey. Too often we just, as you say, we're just being polite and we just sit and watch. That's not the way we should go to theater. That's not the way we're meant to go to theater. Shakespeare certainly didn't mean us to be quiet in theater. No, that's why he was playing to the pit, and they were very rowdy. Yes.
I think it's often, I'm not a sports person at all, but I see the same sort of catharsis in sports where you have a whole arena of people who are in celebration mode because the person has done the thing with the
their
puck.
Team is winning.
And so you have this, and that's what theater can be too. This is why going to theater is different than watching something on Netflix, is you're in community with people all having a shared experience. And
it's always been exciting for me to talk to people, and then we're talking adults, who've never been to theater before, and they go to a play, and they go, oh my gosh, see what you've missed? And when people say, I've never been to a live theater, you go, you have no idea what you're missing. No idea at all. I was very, very lucky to be very young when I started seeing live theater. And that, you know, the lights going down and seeing what was on stage was magic, absolute magic.
Conversely, I've also talked to people who went to one show one time and then discounted theater by the whole, you know, because they had a bad experience.
Bad experience, yeah. And you will.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. Yeah.